So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just come right out and say it. I don't like Ben Shapiro. There are a variety of reasons. I think that he's obnoxious. I think that he's pompous. I think that he has a high pitched, annoying, nasally voice. There's also the fact that as a Christian, he has on several occasions blasphemed against Jesus Christ. I understand that he's Jewish, but the amount of disrespect and disdain that he's shown for Jesus on a number of occasions, including on the Joe Rogan Experience, for me, yeah, I do hold a bit of a grudge about that. I think that it's disgusting. I understand that he doesn't believe in Jesus, but saying some of the stuff that he's said about Jesus in the past, yeah, he's a piece of shit. I also think that he's wrong about nearly everything. I think that he's culturally retarded. I think that there are a lot of things that just make Ben Shapiro not somebody that I particularly respect or am interested in. There's also the fact that when Gamergate was going on, again, the culturally retarded part, him and these sort of other highbrow conservatives, like, we're too good to base ourselves, supporting Gamergate and stuff. So the media was allowed to basically rip Gamergate apart because they didn't really have anyone to help them out. I think that he was a part of that. And I think that he and other people in that space have become more aware of how powerful culture is, but they haven't really done anything with it. Like, Bent Key was a good idea, but who really talks about that anymore? It's not impactful or significant. But Andrew Tate came out and made fun of Ben Shapiro, and it's just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So there have been people in response to this from people who don't like Tate going, why is his table so high? Well, he got off of his seat to make fun of Ben Shapiro's height. It's hilarious.
Okay, I'm Team God.
Yeah, well, God, actually, Judeo-Christian values, actually, because God, Hamas, Hamas, transsexuals, because God, actually, Judeo-Christian.
Is God. I think that one day we are all going to have to account.
I had to fire Candace.
Okay, so, yeah, I remember this story. Candace, a black woman from the United States, proved she had bigger balls than everyone in America who works in the media.
She's anti-Semitic.
She's not.
She's anti-Semitic because she doesn't believe that everyone should just go and die for Israel and everyone should give Israel all this money and we should go to war with Iran for Israel. And that's anti-Semitic. And transsexuals, because transsexuals actually Judeo-Christian values, you have to get married right away.
Listen, Ben, pick a lane. Yeah, I remember that. Candace getting fired from the now failing Daily Wire.
The now failing Daily Wire.
The now failing Daily Wire let go of the only reason most people watched any of their stuff, including me.
Who the fuck is currently subscribed to the Daily?
I mean, they got a point. Like, after Brett Cooper and after Candace Owens left, like, yeah, I haven't watched a single Daily Wire video. No one really even talks about the Daily Wire except for on X, a couple times. I think Tim Pool is way more relevant. Maybe it's just bias for, my feed is feeding me information, but I get way more stuff for Timcast than I do for the Daily Wire. Now, I think that it's funny, obviously. He's making fun of Ben Shapiro's height and how he talks quickly and stuff. And everyone has an opinion on Andrew Tate. Everyone does. And it's very volatile. Some people like him. Some people love him. Some people hate him. I think all of it is very, very funny and very, very interesting. From my perspective, I don't think Andrew Tate is that bad. I don't think that he is guilty of any of the things that they have accused him of because they've come after him with the legal system. And the way I see it is this. Like with the Diddy case, they accused him of something, there's evidence, there's video, they're able to prove their case. With Tate, it just seems like an orchestrated attack. It's sort of the same way that I approach the stuff with Tectone. You know, Tectone, by the way, has been accused of other stuff too, and there are certain people like Nux Taku, for example, who will just say, Andrew Tate is a rapist and trafficker and stuff. Like, you lose validity when you start throwing out those accusations when there's no proof. Like, for example, I would never call Tectone any of those things, even though he's been accused, because I don't believe the people who have accused him. Even though I don't know him personally, I look at the allegations and I say it's ridiculous. If they had such an open and shut case that he was guilty of this stuff, they would have been able to put him away. And they haven't. And they've had years to do so. So, for me, I don't believe any of the allegations against Andrew Tate. I just don't. I think that it's more, you want to call it a matrix attack, but the fact is that Andrew Tate was culturally relevant and they wanted to destroy him, and they've done it in the past. They've done it in the past to people all the time. To try to shut them down, to get people not to like them. And so, yeah, I look at that and go, I don't think that he did it. But I wanted to show this clip because I do think that it's really, really funny. I think that it's, because Ben Shapiro called Andrew Tate like one of the worst people on the internet, which I think is insane because Hassan Piker exists, Destiny exists. Vosh exists. Like, Andrew Tate doesn't even rank when I'm putting together a list of the worst people on the internet. I kind of like the guy. He's entertaining. He's charismatic. He's funny. I would never subscribe to his course. But it's like, for Ben Shapiro of all people to be like, okay, guys, can you believe like this university was ripping people off? It's like, dude, you make people. So, well, you don't make people, but you entice people to subscribe to the Daily Wire. There's no value in that. From my point of view, if you want to know my perspective, I think the Daily Wire, making people pay $100 a year for that site, is more of a scam than Hustlers University. Not that I would subscribe to either one, but that's ridiculous. $100 a year. For what? For Ben to be like, okay, guys, here's my opinion. Like, dude, get out of here. You can support your channel however you want. You can do whatever you want. We live in a capitalist system, but I think that you're in no position to be making those sort of statements. And by the way, Ben Shapiro was ticked off because Andrew Tate did a video where he walked out to his Bugatti smoking a cigar and then got in and was playing Kanye West. HH as a bit of a parody video. I thought that was pretty funny. I just my perspective may be different than others, and that's perfectly fine. I just don't buy into the hate of Andrew Tate as much as other people do, and if they choose to do that, that's perfectly fine. But yeah. Nux Taku was not pleased with this. He says, Andrew, the Matrix is attacking me. Tate is crashing out, but Ben Shapiro lives the life Baldy wishes he'd have. Married, kids, rich, not gay, has hair, friends with... Like, why are you glazing Ben Shapiro? Like, I totally get you don't like Tate. But Ben Shapiro is an obnoxious midget, unpopular, warmongering, loser. Oh, he's got money. No, nobody wants to be Ben Shapiro. Nobody wants to be Ben Shapiro. Nobody. If you looked at Tate and you looked at Ben Shapiro, who would you rather be? Like an obnoxious, nasally midget, or like a former kickboxing champion who's wealthy? He's got a lot of nice cars, got a lot of attractive women. It's like, no, come on. Like, be honest here. Like, I understand that you don't like Tate, and that's perfectly fine, by the way. That's absolutely fine. You don't have to like Tate. But the glazing of Ben Shapiro, not under investigation for rape or trafficking children. Well, we saw in Florida, we saw with their persecution of Tate, they obviously don't like this guy, and they obviously have it out for him. Now, that's not me coping, or, oh, you're such a big Tate fan. No, it's just reality. Like, and by the way, they did the same thing with Trump. They did the same exact thing with Trump, with the lawfare. They called Trump a rapist for the same sort of spurious, ridiculous allegations. Actually, Trump was, he was convicted of sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll, which was one of the most bullshit stories I've ever seen. One of the most bullshit stories I've ever seen. He wasn't convicted of rape. He was convicted of sexual assault for this fantasy story that this dumb bitch came up with. By the way, E. Jean Carroll should be in jail. She should be thrown in prison, sent to El Salvador maybe. But yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this because this is really interesting. It's like, I understand that Nux doesn't like him, but glazing Ben Shapiro is not the way. That is not the way. But Andrew Tate wishes he were Ben Shapiro. Come on, Nux. You know that is some fucking cope. You know Andrew Tate would kill himself if he were Ben Shapiro. Oh my God, no, no, absolutely not. That is not what he wants. That is a, oh boy, yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this video is just a little bit of fun. Having a little bit of fun at stuff like this. The internet is made for this. Anyway, thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you next time.